Today, I'm joined by a reality TV star who shot to fame on Big Brother in 2001 and went on to appear on the Big Brother Panto in 2004 and also released a tell-all book about her experiences in the reality show, which was titled Big Brother, The Inside Story. She's now also a broadcaster, a social commentator, who you may well recognise is Narinder Kaur, reality star and commentator. Well done, Narinder. She won't shout, she's promised me.
I might shout. No, I won't shout. I won't shout. I won't give everyone a headache. Everyone's taken the Nurofen. They've told me that on Twitter.
Oh, did they? Well, listen, we've got to start at the beginning here, Narinder, because a lot of people, they hear you sort of going on and all these debates, but nobody really knows much about you, really. So that's if they haven't bought the book, by the way. But
They haven't.
They haven't bought that, have they not?
It didn't really do that great.
Well, you know.
But I'm glad you said reality TV star.
You are.
Because I was used to, 20 years ago, it was reality TV reject. And they used to put you in the bin in the papers. They'd have a bin and they'd get your face and put you in the bin. So we were rejected. We were rejects.
So what's your life been like then? You know, how many brothers and sisters have you got? Where were you born? What's the deal?
So I was actually born in the Midlands. We moved up to Newcastle. Family went up there. We bought a shop. I'm the youngest. And actually, when I went to school, and I think this is where the whole, because people say, oh, she's just jumping on some racism bandwagon. I grew up in Newcastle. And I know you did too.
I think I was born in Newcastle,
yeah,
Geordie.
But same. Well, no, I was brought up there. But I experienced a lot of racism in Newcastle. I was the only person of colour in the entire school, in the whole area. So I was, you know, I just was grown up with being called P word every single day. And that does affect you, but you kind of do get over it as you get older because, I don't know, you go through other experiences in life. But actually, after Big Brother, that racism, because obviously you become overnight famous, like hugely famous from Big Brother. And when you go from being, just a normal person to just everyone knowing you, then the racism becomes vivid again. And so I experienced it all over again. And actually I experienced it from press, kind of TV channels. And actually, for what it's worth, GB News were the ones who put me back in.
Well, do you know what, though? Well, now you mentioned the racism. I was going to say it later, but on Dan's show, you mentioned the coconut word.
Yes, I did.
And you tell me about what you said about that, so, to remind the viewers. Yeah. You seem to think it was OK.
I do think it's OK.
OK, carry on.
I think it was completely OK, because I do think Rishi Sunak, Suella, Priti Patel, coconuts. And it's not racist, and I'll tell you why. Because racism is, and I haven't even bothered explaining it on my social media, coconut can be offensive or it can be OK. I get called coconut. So my taste in music, I don't like Indian music. I like English music. I was raised with English music. So some may say, for example, Diljit Dosanjh, he's just opened Coachella. He's a very famous Punjabi singer. Don't really care. So my Indian followers will say, you're a bit of a coconut, because you prefer English music. Now, when I'm calling Suella and Rishi Priti Patel coconuts, it's offensive because actually...
So you know it's offensive?
Oh, yeah, because they are coconuts, because what they've done is they've been used, I think, as the brown faces to push racist policy and racist rhetoric.
OK.
They have.
Well, now you've explained it. It's good to hear that. But I actually think that it is racist. And it is racist because you're judging somebody by the colour of their skin, not the content of their character. So
it's about content of the character. No.
So you're basically saying that a Asian person or a black person should behave in a certain way, and they're not behaving in that way. So you have a stereotype of what they're meant to be.
No.
And because they're not doing that, and they're doing something that you think a white person would do, then you're calling them a coconut. See, that's the problem. No,
that's not. That you've explained it all the wrong way, actually. Well, because I don't expect them to behave a certain way. But having said that, when you're a brown face and yourself, your parents were immigrants, and you're trying to start policy that is so disgusting towards asylum seekers and immigration seekers, you can't then say, but you came from that. You're weird. Your own parents were immigrants. And I don't buy that argument. Well, actually, that was legal. My parents came here legally. Doesn't mean they were welcomed. My father went through a lot of racism. My mum was called. They were called the P word every day. They weren't welcomed. But going back to the coconut word, it's not because I expect them to behave a certain way. I love English music, but I haven't forgotten where I've come from. Now, I'm not saying Rishi and Suella have got to remember where they've come from, but they are brown faces being used to push racist policies. They are.
So that's your view.
Yes.
But that, I think, then diminishes their own brilliance as people, because from what I can see, Rishi Sunak, even though I may not support some of his policies, is a brilliant politician, OK? He is there not because he's some sort of token and because of the colour of his skin.
I think he is.
He is there because he's good at what he does. He has managed to persuade... Look, Ursula von der Leyen, you saw the pussycat eyes that she was giving him. He's managed to get on with Macron. He's managed to get things done. Hang on. And it's not because he's not in the position because of the colour of his skin. He's there because the people in his party wanted him to lead it. And you saw the way they did everything to get rid of Liz Truss. She went. And
she was voted in because
I don't necessarily agree with the way it happened. But what I'm saying is people backed him because they thought he would do the job. And actually, looking at the job he's doing a whole lot better than any of the others. So I think you diminish his ability by saying, and Suella's, by saying that they're only there as a representative because of the colour of their skin. I think it's wrong, and it's also racist.
No, well,
listen,
racist. Should I tell you something? They aren't there. They are there because of the colour of their skin, actually.
No, that's
because,
racist.
Because Rishi Sunak wasn't... He would not have been voted in by members. The way he was put in was because they knew he'd never be voted in. And actually, Rishi and Suella Braverman is disgusting in the way she talks. She's a racist.
Listen, hang on, wait.
By the way, when
I'm
you
going to stop you there. One
coconut...
second. So just in case anyone's offended by this, by the way, we do apologise. And also, Suella's not here to defend herself. But let's move on. OK, so anyway, in my view, that is what I think is very racist. And obviously, some people listening may be offended, and we do apologise deeply if you are offended by that.
Who would be offended by that, Nana?
I'm offended. No, I'm offended.
I'm offended by her policies and the way she talks.
But that's not based on the colour of her skin. So I think we need to...
This isn't.
No. Using that term is quite insulting.
You know, when you
call
someone the P word,
they're all insulting.
They're insulting because you're insulting an entire race.
Yeah.
When you call someone a coconut, it's personal. You're not insulting the whole race.
No, you're judging someone based on the colour of the skin.
I am judging.
It's wrong. It's wrong. It really is wrong. And I personally am offended by it. And I know people watching and listening will be offended by it. So again, I apologise if anybody is offended. But anyway, it was something that I wanted to talk to you about because I thought it was important that you know that actually there's another side to that conversation and a lot of people would be deeply offended by it. So I just wanted to bring that up. But let's move on because you have made some real waves of a lot of the things you said, but you've been doing a lot too. So we were talking about your family. We were talking about how many siblings you have, brothers and sisters. What's the deal with your family?
So 2 older brothers, but one brother passed away 3 years ago, just before COVID, of cancer. Another older brother in Newcastle, sisters in Newcastle. They have a shop in Newcastle. And that was a family business. So I grew up in a corner shop. I used to get up at like 5:30 in the morning, went from 7 years old, put the papers out. I don't like the whole, I've had a hard life, I've had it so... Because we've all had a hard life. We're all struggling now as well. But then I did Big Brother because a lot of people... I wanted to be famous. No one else would admit that. Back then, I thought I was a struggling actress. And I thought, by doing Big Brother, it's going to put me on the map. But it put me on the map the wrong way. And I remember coming out of Big Brother and the public were fantastic. The love I got from the public was just lovely. People were nice. And the thing about Big Brother is... The public who love reality TV, they won't actually put up with racism. That's one thing they will not put up with, and they don't like anything that's kind of wrong. And they voted Nadia to win. She was a transvestite. She was the first transvestite to win.
Well, I think the British people are... I think they're very accepting. I'm very proud to be British.
Yes.
I'm accepting as well of all things I like to think. So you got onto Big Brother. How and why did you go on there? And how did you get in? What was the...
And people think that you just turn up at the door and you with your suitcase. It was like 6 months of auditioning. And, I'd go along thinking, I'm not going to get in. And the other reason... You're going to laugh at this. I went in and I'd go to the auditions thinking, I'm never going to get into the house because I argued with everyone. And I thought, I'm not getting on with anyone.
They love that.
Well, I didn't know that then because, remember, my Big Brother was one of the first. So I'd go to the auditions thinking, oh, my God, I've argued with everyone. Oh, my God, I've upset everyone. And that's exactly the reason they chose me to go in the house. But when you go into Big Brother, it's like being stuck in this studio. You, me, Dan Wootton, Nigel Farage, all of us stuck together. And you're hungry and you've got no communication. You are ripped apart from everything you know and love. You're going to argue. So that's where all the arguments... Only a very strong person can last out 9-10 weeks and not argue with one single other person.
I'd be all right. I'd be all right with it, but I'd argue with all of them.
You might be first out.
I know. I'll be the last one out because they want to do all the horrible things to me. They want to see the arguments. But, yeah. But it is interesting. So after that, you didn't win. Who won that one?
Brian Dowling. Brian Dowling, yeah, he was there. He won that one. I didn't win, and I came out, and I remember I wanted to carry on doing TV. I remember going to BBC, actually. I had a meeting with someone very high up there, and I'll never forget this. And they said to me, well, we can only put an Asian as a newsreader, really.
See, that's it, yeah.
And actually, we suggest you go to Indian channels. Go to, I don't know, whatever the Indian channels were there. I'd go to the Indian channels, but I came out of Big Brother, so I came out of mainstream. And they'd say, well, you're actually just a bit too Western for us. You need to go back to BBC or ITV. They didn't want me because they didn't know where to put an Indian woman who was opinionated. They said it will not sit right with any of our viewers. You need to just... I went away.
Well, you've come to the right place.
At GB News. And when I came to GB News, my own community said, you're selling yourself short. Oh, my God, you've sold your soul to the devil. But actually, for all the criticism GB News gets, they put me on. They let me have my opinion. They want an Indian woman who's opinionated.
Do you know what we want? Do you know what we want? We want somebody who's got an opinion, whether you're Asian or whatever.
Whatever it is, exactly.
But we want people who are prepared to stand by their views and say what they think and be honest and genuine about it.
Yes.
And you do stand by your views. You're very honest and genuine about it. So what's next for you then? What in your head, where would you see yourself and what do you want to be?
Probably my own show on GB.
You're just thinking about this show. I knew she was thinking about this.
But I think, I mean, when you say opinionated, I know I got into a lot of trouble with the whole Dylan, the whole being, and I know
what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I think it's okay. I really don't understand why yourself... and I know you don't... I don't like the term cis woman either, by the way. I don't like it. Having said that, it doesn't offend me that Dylan and trans women are used in adverts for women.
Nobody cares.
Why?
No.
What is the problem?
It's not that. It's not that. It's more the fact that Dylan is not a woman. Dylan is a man. And Dylan is posing as though he's selling tampons and things like that, so he's promoting tampons. He will never have a period, so it doesn't make any sense to me. And then he is selling sports bras or promoting sports bras. He doesn't have any breasts and he's a man. And the problem with that is that there are some brilliant female athletes and people who would be brilliant for that.
They've never
and
used
these
that.
but these kind of jobs are being taken by men. He's a man, and I don't want to see that. I want to see women being promoted and women being called women, not cis women, and I want to see trans women being called trans women because they're not women. There's a difference.
Well, I know, but in terms of the advertising, when I was growing up, every Nike advert or whatever it was, I didn't relate to. I really didn't care. There was, Kate Moss, no boobs, no hips, no thighs. I didn't relate to that.
Yeah, but she's still a woman. She's still a woman. That's why. Yeah, but she's still a woman. She still has periods.
I didn't relate as a woman. I didn't relate to it.
But no woman is going to relate. No woman's going to relate to a man selling those things. I don't relate to him. Do you relate to Dylan selling Nike bras?
I really don't.
If you didn't relate to Kate Moss, you're saying that you.
I don't relate to him easy because he's got no boobs. But either did Kate Moss.
Well, he's a man.
But I didn't relate to. But if you've got a woman pushing a pram, advertising a pram, she may not have a baby. That means nothing. I don't understand.
Well, no, we don't mind that. But
I don't like demonising trans women.
Nobody's demonising trans women. It's just saying that is actually an inappropriate use of this person. And in fact, I think they're being used by those big corporations, and I think that's wrong as well. It's not actually fair on Dylan either. Because if I was a trans woman and somebody said, would you do this for $150,000, I'd probably say yes. But then the backlash that has come with it for Dylan isn't actually very pleasant. So in my view, I think it's almost these companies are weaponising the trans community to try and push and get
He's also getting a lot of love. He's also getting a lot of support. My daughter's 15. She goes, it's not a big deal. She goes, I don't wake up every morning thinking he's taking my woman's space. It's not. It really isn't a big deal, Nana.
Well, maybe not. Maybe not to you, but Budweiser might think differently, seeing as their share price has gone off the cliff and they've lost.
Well, I hadn't even heard of Bud Light until he did it. So it's worked.
Well, a lot of people have, but a lot of people are firing at their cans and all sorts of stuff. So it's not really working out well for them. But it's been great to talk to you, Narinder.
Time flies.
Temper Suited.
Is that it?
That's great, Narinder Kaur. Thank you so much. She's been my outside guest. She's not that shouty. She's all right, isn't she? She's a reality star. And we love her here at GB News. Thank you so much, Narinder. It's lovely to talk to you.